The Thunderbird of the Native Americans. Could this mythical animal have been real? Well, we do have images of huge bats that were photographed in America, basically looking like dinosaur bat-like creatures. So it could be that these things once existed and are now extinct. When the first settlers arrived in the New World, they faced a vast continent stretching endlessly in front of them, and land was full of strange peoples and unfamiliar species as well. You can see on this image here, man on the left, and the other animals. Well, the emperor penguin #1 is extinct now, as well as the Madagascar bird, #3 is extinct. So despite being best known from North America, there's evidence of similar figures being mythologized in Africa, Asia, and Europe. The Thunderbird has been depicted in art, songs, and oral histories through North America, from the Pacific Northwest to American Southwest and Great Plains. It's easy to dismiss such descriptions as personifications of natural forces such as thunderstorms. The Thunderbird must be big to create the sounds and sights of a thunderstorm, just as it's clearly, it must be airborne. But these stories come from areas of vast, deserted wilderness, areas which could potentially support a large species without detection, even to this day. And Native Americans worshipped other creatures such as the bear or cougar, which were demonstrably real. We know such large birds existed in the past, such as the magnificent Argentinavis, which was the size of a large aircraft. You couldn't believe that. But simply put, could the Thunderbird be real as well? A mysterious bird? The appearance of the Thunderbird is difficult to pin down, and it was a variety of descriptions that ranged from tribe to tribe. Almost the only consistent thread between the stories is that the bird has supernatural powers. It is an enormous soaring bird, similar to the eagle or condor, but much larger and stronger. Using its large wings, the Thunderbird could create thunderstorms, bringing rain and storms that were both good and bad. The Native Americans held the Thunderbird in high regard, believing it would protect them from evil spirits. It's important to separate what a Thunderbird might actually be from some of the more fanciful legends that are associated with it. It would not be able to shoot lightning from its beak, for example, nor be so large that it could pick up a whale in its talons. These seem to be exaggerated tales to emphasize the power of the creature, and unless the Thunderbird ranges across the entire North American continent, many of these stories may indeed be mythical, or at least hearsay. Other stories with more grounded descriptions may help to us to get closer to what the real bird might look like. For instance, Thunderbirds were said to have bright and colorful feathers and extremely sharp teeth and claws. They were also said to live usually in the clouds high above the tallest trees, tallest mountains, a habitat modern science would agree to be most suitable for such a large bird. Different stories for different tribes. One of the most prominent sources for the Thunderbird comes from the people of the Northwest Americas, including Eastern Canada and the United States. These people are often known as the Algonquin people. The Algonquin mythology, legends. In those legends, the Thunderbird is described in the role of a god, controlling the upper world, while the underworld is controlled by the underwater panther or great horned serpent. The Thunderbird uses its thunder and lightning to fight the underworld creatures. In this tradition, the Thunderbird was depicted as a huge bird with wings held wide and horizontal and head in profile. However, it can also be presented as an X shape with the head facing forward. The Ojibwe tribe on the northern border of the Great Lakes claim the Thunderbirds were created by Nana Bosho, the trickster figure and culture hero of the Native American people. Their express purpose was to fight the underwater spirits of the underworld. Also, Thunderbirds were said to punish those who broke moral rules. They lived in the four directions and migrated with the birds in the spring traveling south after winter. Fact beneath the legend: these stories are clearly part of the mythology and cannot be true of a living creature, but again, like Ratatoskr, the squirrel in Norse mythology, or the serpent in the Garden of Eden, this does not discount the creature under the legends from being real. The tribes certainly used thunderbirds to describe various natural occurrences. The Native American Passamaquoddies described the quest of two friends in search of the source of thunder in the mountains, and whilst only one made it to the top, he found a group playing a ball game. They were startled and they ran into their wigwams, coming out with wings and equipped with bows and arrows. They flew away, and he believes that he had found the true home of the Thunderbird. Returning, he discussed this with his village elders, who crushed his bones into the shape of a Thunderbird with giant wings and gave him a bow and arrows. Other stories tell of how the Thunderbird fought with a great creature of the sea, a giant killer whale. The ferocity of the giant destroyed much of the surrounding land and caused huge amounts of destruction, knocking over trees and leaves, leaving scars on the land. Now, whilst powerful and dangerous, they were sometimes benevolent and aided hunters in their search for both food and water. This was especially useful during times of famine. They were also said to have left their eggs. Igneous rocks show as thunderstones waiting to hatch and protect the nearby peoples in the future. The reality? So, a large and dangerous bird, not necessarily hostile unless provoked, which inhabits the highest peaks and which is only driven to low enough to be seen when the weather is fierce. This does not seem outside the realm of possibility, and there is a surprising amount of evidence for a real bird. There is a story from April 1890 where two cowboys in Arizona killed a giant bird-like creature that had a huge wingspan, and it had smooth skin, featherless wings, and a face that resembled an alligator. It's more similar to prehistoric pterodactyl than the traditional thunderbird. The story goes that they are supposed to have dragged the creature back to town, and it was measured with a wingspan of the size of a barn. Supposedly the photo was taken, but it has been lost. In the 20th century, there have been more thunderbird sightings, often leaving physical evidence in the form of large footprints. One of the most controversial reports comes from July 25, 1977, in Lawndale, Illinois. Around 9 p.m. in the evening, a group of 3 boys was playing in a backyard in a residential area. 2 large birds chased the boys, and one named Marlon Lowe was caught by a bird. He fought it, and it released him, dropping him 2 feet. It was dismissed as a tall tale, as the description seemed more like an Andean condor, but an attack by a condor would be almost as unlikely as a thunderbird itself. There have been even more recent sightings of the thunderbird, as late as 2007. Young students have claimed to have seen them flying silhouetted against the sky. These birds often appear small as they fly at high altitudes, with their true enormous size only becoming apparent as they get closer. Though, as of yet, no one has attributed any supernatural effects to these birds. While these are certainly myth, could the Native Americans have ascribed these powerful features to a huge bird they saw in the sky, just like the more modern eyewitness accounts? And the thunderbirds, like many of the large species of the North American continent, have a long association with Native American people. The Winnebago tribe says that a man who has a vision of a thunderbird during a solitary fast will become a war chief. They also believe that the thunderbird has the power to grant people great abilities. The thunderbird of the Sioux people was a notable creature that protected humans from the Untehila, who were dangerous reptilian monsters. Some believe that they were shapeshifters, who often changed their appearance to interact with people. To the Shawnee tribe, they appeared as boys and could be identified by their tenacity to speak backwards. In some tribes, thunderbirds were considered extremely sacred forces of nature, while in others they were treated like powerful but otherwise ordinary members of the animal kingdom, many legends reference to the anger of the Thunderbirds as something fearsome to behold, which could result in harsh punishments. Some say that the mythology began with the ancient mound builders. Throughout history, the Thunderbird symbol has appeared on totem poles, pottery, petroglyphs, masks, jewelry, and carvings. The legends have been told through song and oral histories. Now, why are all these people united in their depiction of the Thunderbird and only varied in the powers they ascribed to it? What was the creature they used as the base of their mythology? It could still be out there, somewhere in the vast and untouched North American wilderness. This is by Kurt Redman on Historic Mysteries. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.